Okay, so I'm back with another video, continuing from the previous video that I uploaded. I noticed that there was a sound issue on that video, and then I noticed later on, and then yeah, I'm just going to go over the diagram here a little bit again, just yeah, just to explain some of the things that I was trying to explain on the previous video, right? So I was explaining that I have a problem, not a really big problem, just something enough, just something that motivated me enough to just learn about how to interact with ChatGPT, and then um, how other concepts behind AI, right? So uh, it's just a simple process of me doing my take-home assessments, right? So uh, this is a typical process I would use into answering, right? So I'll start by reading the question, right, and then try to answer it myself. If I cannot, I would consult the slides, right? And then if I still don't find the answer, I will consult the textbook. Maybe they were the topic or that part was not mentioned in the slide. And then I would consult the textbook. If I still don't find it in the textbook, I'll consult the internet, right? So just search around and find the answers. If I still don't find the answers, I'll use ChatGPT, right, to help me understand the question and possibly find the answers, right? And then still, if I don't understand or find the answers, I'll consult my classmates, right? So this is what I resort to as the last option, right? So I wanted to make this process for myself a little bit simpler, right? Faster and automated, right? So this will be me, and then I will just ask ChatGPT, and then it will give me like the answer, right? Based on the question, slides, textbook, internet, right? So I wanted it to answer based on these things, right? Mostly based on the slides, right? So usually I find enough information there to answer the questions, right? And then I wanted to automate this part here, right? So if this part doesn't work, I just skip to this one, right? Immediately, right? Okay, so you would ask me, why don't I just use an existing service? Existing services, they want you to pay, right? And then you pay something like $5 or $10 a month. And then if you pay $5, there's a hard limit again. And then if you pay $20, it's too much for what I usually want from ChatGPT, right? So one service I was using, it was Chat PDF, right? So it had a limit of 5 pages per PDF or a total size of 10 MB. I can't quite remember, but there's a limit, right? And then what I'm sure of is one upload per day. What if I was completing 2 assignments on that day? What if the information I wanted was on different PDFs, right? So I could only upload one PDF, right? You might ask, why don't I merge the PDFs and upload them once? There's a size limit or pages limit again on that PDF, right? So yeah, I used to hit those limits, right? And then when you uploaded a PDF and then you go to another day, can't upload. Oh, you cannot use that previous PDF, right? Also, there is a limit of prompts per day, something like that, right? So yeah, so I wanted something unlimited, right? And then also with less money, right? And then Also, I wanted it in to be a form of a repository, right? And then I wanted to also have control over it, right? Because some of the materials I upload there, I don't want anyone to find them, right? Or ChatGPT or anyone else, right? I don't know about ChatGPT, how they do their things, if they train their models based on the data and context that we give it, but I don't mind that. What I really mind is someone else, right, having my data, right? So I tend to upload a lot of PDFs, right? So now, I want it also to be a repository where I can just keep all my PDFs, right? Not keep the PDFs, but the knowledge, right? So at any time, I can just query it at any time, and then it will answer based on the previous PDFs I uploaded. Some of my modules, I think I mentioned it in the last video, that they are related, right? So I wanted it to so mix and match things from other modules to answer my questions, right? So a simple architecture that I had last time was this, right? So I had a server, I had myself, a client, a server, OpenAI, and then a database, right? So I would upload a PDF, right? Perform some magic here, send it to OpenAI, and then I get that magic from OpenAI to my database, right? And then I store it. And then when I prompt, it does some magic here, takes something from the database, magic on the database, send it to OpenAI. OpenAI does its magic, and then it responds to me. All right, cool. Simple as that. So I have all of this working, right? And then let's go over it, right? So I have built this UI, right? Also, it was just learning Next.js, and then yeah, I also wanted to do theming, right? So it was quite easy actually to add, and then I have that, right? And then you can log in and then log out, right? So yeah. Uh, okay, for the pictures, as you can see, I'm using free pick, right? For my pictures on my website. Okay, cool. And then um, this is just hard coded on the front end, right? It's not there on the back end or anything, right? So you can do some queries here, right? But you have to give it context. Right now, I don't have a PDF uploaded, right? Sometimes it answers the question, sometimes it doesn't answer it. It will tell you that it doesn't have a context. Let's ask what is TOGAF framework. All right, so some of the questions that you would have to answer on my assignments is questions like this, right? So what is TOGAF framework? Um, what is the maybe between business analyst and project. Yeah, sometimes they ask us to differentiate, right? So what's happening right now is answering from ChatGPT, right? It's just answering from ChatGPT. Let's ask, does it have any context given? So there's no context given, right? So it's just answering from itself, right? Yeah. And then let's upload a file here. Um, I'm just going to pull it from my downloads folder and then business analysis, right? Then when you click on upload, yeah, I have this loading thing that I need to fix a little bit. And then it would refresh. Now the PDF is there, right? So I don't know what this PDF is about, but um, the business analyst, right? So uh, you can see now the answer is a bit different, right? So a business analyst is a perform a job or title, right? So okay, we didn't ask what was the business analyst before, but now you see it's also referencing where it got this information, right, which is written inside the PDF. So let me try to delete this PDF and also just ask this question again and see what the answer I get here. So see the answer is different now, right? So this is a general answer from the internet. You would get if I upload the PDF file again, right? Yeah, and then I ask the same question again, right? And then you see gives me the same answer as this one, right? But it doesn't mention the songs this time. I don't know why. But yeah, so that's what I have, right? So let's see in the light mode. Uh, okay, that's that's what's there. I can remove this. Uh, yeah. Anyway, here you can upload multiple PDFs. You don't just upload one PDF at a time. Let me copy here, and then let me also do that. Copy and then paste it again here, right? So now I assume I have three PDFs. I open them, three files are there, upload them, right? And then it's just an animation. Yeah. So let's look at the code that is behind here, right? So now I have these PDFs, right? And then I can delete them, right? So yeah, they're all gone, right? Just like that. Also, there's a login thing, right? So if I log out, right? So yeah, can sign up, right? So it's just, it doesn't matter the password, the email can be any email with an add here, and then there's a password minimum length 8 characters, doesn't matter the characters. And then if you sign up, you sign up. If you sign in, what was the password? Okay, yeah, so sign in successful. There's no limit, it's just there, just guiding it so that people don't abuse it, because I have posted it here, right, on dogchat at online, right? So yeah, and then let's look at the code and some of the decisions I've made, or some of the code I wrote here, right? So the front end, as you can see, front end is actually just NextJS, right? I'm not using any what you call server-side rendering, right? I'm not using any server-side rendering. I'm just using use client. I think I defined this use client in, in like one page. This is a sign-in page. Don't need this here, right? So it's using Tailwind for styling. I think you have noticed that. And then I'm using Shadcn for the components, right? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why it mentions Shadcn, but yeah, I'm using Shadcn. And then it's just a simple Next.js application, right? And then I have like 3 pages. This page for sign in, sign up, and then I have the way you chat actually. So it's this page here, right? So I'm using Next.js because I like it. And then why am I using a client? I'm using a client because I wanted to use React Query. I don't know yet how to use it with server components. Yeah, so I just use it with my front end here. Also, I wanted to keep the state of the messages right here. Yeah, and then when you have buttons in Next.js, you have to use a client component. But you might say, why don't I just extract this button here? Because this button is the only thing that has interactivity, right? So and put it in another component and then have all of this as server-side rendered. Yeah, but just a button and then it's just one page, nothing heavy on this page. And then in my public folder, I have all of this. Yeah. And then I also tried to make it a web app that you can just install. Yeah. So cool. Right. And then when moving to the back end, I actually have one page, one file on the back end, which is this index.ts. Here, I was testing something regarding ban, right? So I'm using ban as my server HTTP server, right? So let's look at I'm using Ban as my runtime environment, and then I'm using Elysia as my HTTP, right, server handler, right? And then as you can see, I'm using LangChain to communicate with OpenAI, pass the PDFs that I upload, and then I'm using Convex as my database, right, as you can see here. And then yeah, just these dependencies, and then I have my server working, right? Moving on to the code here, right? It's just standard procedure things here. You have to import Convex stuff, OpenAI stuff, prompts creating here. I'm using Convex client Convex HTTP client to call. I don't know what am I calling it, this client. Okay, this is how you use Convex on the front end because you can't use mutation because those are server because those are hooks, React hooks, so you can't use React hooks here. So I'm using an HTTP client here. Yeah, to call my mutations, my actions, right? So let's just look at the Convex schema, right? Real quick. It's just a simple schema, right? See, just 29 lines, actually 28 lines, right? If I remove that, and then actually it's 27 lines, right? Yeah, 27 lines, but let's, yeah. So I have 1, 2, 3 tables. I have the users table, right? I just take the user email, password, and then the role, right? Yeah. And then the files, I just take the name of the file and the owner, which is related to a user, right? Cool. And then doesn't matter which user it is, you will all see the files that are there. You can delete all the files that are there. And then the file, I do not store the file. As you can see, I just store the name of the file and then who the owner is who uploaded the file. Then only. I don't store the file itself, right? And then here, this is the document, right? So also here, I'm storing the text content of the file, and then I'm storing the embeddings, right, that are generated by OpenAI. So that happens here, right? So I uploaded PDF. It does some magic here. and then it calls this embed on OpenAI. OpenAI does the magic, which is embedding the document, right? Just converting the content into numbers. It's usually it's an array of arrays with numbers, something like that. So it's called vectors, right? So to do a search quickly, similarity search quickly on those content, right? So, and then when go back to the code, I just store the the embedding, right, which are the vectors, right? It's an array of numbers. And then here is the content, right? So when it finds a similar vector, right, it returns the content here, right? So, and then I store the metadata, right? So the document ID, right? So the document ID is a field that I add myself, right? So you can see here, I use index on ID, comma, and then document ID, right? So I have this document ID index. It's because when I delete, right, a file, which is a document, right, I want to also delete the vectors and the content of it, right? So simple as that. And then the type is there by default. It actually this this schema here comes back from OpenAI like this, right? The only field I add myself here is the document ID so that I can delete this document when I delete a file here, right? So the schema here actually, it came like this, I think, right? So it came like this. I took it from the documentation of Convex, right? So it came like this, and then the only thing I added was the metadata, right? So cool. And then I have my actions here. So this action here, ingest, right? Ingest, right? It takes in whatever comes back from not come back from, but it come from the when you upload the file, right? So I have a route which is a post, takes in a file, right? And then the body is just an array of files. We're only accepting PDFs for now. And then by default, if I don't provide the owner ID, I want to use this one, right? Which is me, right? So file, I load the file right from the body. I body.files and then I map the files, right? And then for each file, I load the file, right? And then I load it and then client mutation create file, right? So I upload the file. I'm not uploading the file actually. I'm just calling this, I think there's files here. Get user files, nope. Delete user, create file, right? So just take a file name and the owner, right? Who uploaded the file, right? So just take that and then I put it in the database. Why am I putting it in the database first here? It's because I want the ID, right? So it will just return me the ID here, right? So the ID here. And then I say for document of docs, right? So after I loaded the document, right? So it will be splitted into different pages, right? As you can see here, I use split pages to true, right? And then so it will return multiple documents, an array, right, of documents, right? So I say doc.metadata, I add the source, which is the document name, and then I say doc.metadata, document ID is the ID that I get from creating a new file here. And then I'm done with that, right? And then I split the documents, right? So into manageable chunks, right? And then when I'm done splitting that into manageable chunks, I call my ingest, right? My ingest is in my actions, which is my ingest here. And then my ingest, right, what it does, it just passes the metadata from a JSON because there is an error that I was getting. As you can see here, I'm saying the text, right? I'm just taking the content only, right, of the text, and then the metadata also, I'm mapping the documents go again, and then I stringify the metadata, right? I stringify the metadata. It was throwing an error regarding it was throwing an error regarding an ID within with a start that starts with an underscore. So the ID was like underscore ID, right? So it throw an error saying that convex nested objects can start with an underscore. So first I tried to stringify it, and then I pass it as metadata. But then when I got this site, still when I tried to insert it into the Convex database, I kept on getting that error. So I just decided to, oh, you know what? Let me pass that metadata here and then map it, and then uh, PDF metadata and just make it empty, right? So the PDF part actually. So there's metadata somewhere here, and then there's a PDF, and then there's okay, there's PDF, and then there's metadata, there's PDF, there's this thing, and then there's another metadata. I think it had 3 fields, so they were not quite useful to me, so I can discard them, right? So I just discard them like that, return an empty object. Uh, why didn't I use null here? I don't know why didn't I use null, but yeah, I think I had an error again with null, so I just resorted to an empty object. Um, and then here, convert store from text, right? From text is text, and then you pass the metadata, right? So your array of your text and the array of your metadata must match, right? So what's the text that is at index 0 and the metadata at index 0, they must match what was generated when you are splitting the documents here, right? So yeah, and then you just pass the OpenAI embeddings new object, right? And then you pass in the context, and then it will do its magic in the background. It will call OpenAI for you, um, generate the embeddings, and then come back and then put them in the database for you. Cool stuff, right? Cool stuff. And then also here, if you notice here, I don't even have to mention which table to use, right? In terms of my schema here, I don't even have to mention that I'm using this table here, because it's done inside this convex from text. By default, it goes to documents. I haven't explored on how to maybe create your own what is this, your own yeah, just your own table and put the things there, right? And then that's it with uploading the files, and then I have the search here, right? So I get the query. The query is actually what comes in from here, right? So what's the password? What's the password? Right. So it's okay. Yes, save the password. And then the query is whatever you type in here, exactly whatever you type in here. all right? And then I pass it to a new convex vector store. No, I create a new vector store object from the convex vector store, and then I pass it the OpenAI embeddings, right? So that it will embed this query right here, this query right here. And then also I pass it the context so students know which table in my database to query from, right? And then also which column it is that it has to run the the query, right? So and then I get an array, do a similarity search, right? So k, what does the k mean? Uh, yeah, I don't know what does the k mean. And then I passed one, but then yeah, we'll get back to that. And then when I get the results, right, and then I just on stringify them and then return result one, right? So you have to stringify it, otherwise it will throw an error here, right? So that's it, and then it returns to your right. This is then this is the route, right? So it returns it here. So this route is just like 4 lines, right? So it's a get, right? No, not this route. I'm referencing a wrong route. uh, this is the route, right? So here, right? So it matches, right? We immediately when we get your what is this query, right? We just query, right? So I call my search, which is that search I just showed you, right? And then it will find the matches, right? So it finds those matches and then it creates a prompt from template, answer the following questions based on the provided context. So say context here, and then there's a placeholder context there, right? And then the question is the input, right? So, and then answer in format markdown, right? So I don't know how to make ChatGPT answer in a certain format for now, but then I'll find it later, right? So, and then I create stuff from documents chain, right? So chat model, which is ChatGPT, I created it up here, right? And then the prompt, which is just created here, right? So the prompt, and then metadata, right? And then it says matches dot result one, right? So I pass because that side I made it a string file. So now I pass it back to, yeah, I just pass it back to, what is this? Uh, to a JavaScript object, right? So I need to pass a JavaScript object here. Uh, Not really, but and then I'm passing that metadata as it is, it goes there. And then metadata, I say metadata 0.metadata, right? So I haven't figured out how to use this on the responses, right? But I will still have it, right? So it returns whatever comes back from here, right? So you invoke, right, on this document chain that we created here, the model, the prompt, right? We invoke, and then we pass in the input. The input is this way that we used here, right? Input here, input. And then the context here is this way that we use a context here, right? So we'll pass those two, and then it goes to ChatGPT and then it returns. And then I have the file upload, which I just explained, and then I get the documents that are uploaded, and then I have my loggers here, and then I have my setup there, the documentation course JWT, yeah, and then uh file ID when you're deleting the file here, right? So we have that. And then we have sign up. This is just hashing the password as it gets it, right? So it's validated 8 characters here, right? So usually, not usually, but if it doesn't meet 8 characters, it just return from here. But if it passes there, create a secure password to just enter you to the database. When we enter you to the database and then we return created successfully, you might say, oh, what if the user is already created, right? So I actually checked that this site, right? So user exists, I query the users with index email, and then I filter field by email, and then I take the unique one. If the user exists, I just throw there, then it's just stop there, right? And then there's delete user, and then there's delete file, right? So uh, cool stuff. And then user files, the one when we get the user files, and then get user by email. I don't know why I have this route, but I have this handler, right? But I have it, right? So yeah, and then when I come to my Convex dashboard, right? So yeah, you can see I have 0 documents, and then I have 0 files, and then users, I have quite a few users, right? So yeah, and then let's just upload one document. Let me just upload the document I've been uploading. Not say one document. So open that, then I upload it. I need to fix this loading thing. It's too fast. So in terms of hosting my backend and front end, right? They are hosted on so there's the documents, right? So they are hosted on Railway, right? I'm using Railway as my backend, and yeah, as you can see, it's still generating, but the response has responded to you. Why is still generating? Because these now, they are coming from OpenAI, right? So you've done your part, you've generated you've uploaded the document, and then it responds to you, and then it goes to OpenAI and does its thing. And then if you go to files, we have one file. The file name is business analysis owner, is that, and then creation time, and then the ID. Then when you come to documents, when you look at the metadata here, right? So the metadata here is that empty metadata object, right? So yeah, there's nothing there because you can see I have total pages, I have authors, whatever, anything about that PDF, right? And then it's linked to a document, right? So this document has this file here, the document that was uploaded. Then this document is linked to a user, right? So yeah, and then in the next video, I will be implementing some features, right? So let me just talk about a few of those features that I want. So number one, I want user uh, to see only their documents, right? Docs they upload, right? And then number two, right? I want to limit the number of requests per hour, right? Not number of prompts, anything, just a number of requests per hour. So I was thinking 100 requests per hour. It doesn't matter what you do. You log in, we count it as a request, and then log out, you count it as a request. You authenticate yourself, you count it as a request if you refresh a page. And then you upload a file, we count it as a request, something like that, right? So why do I want that? It's because some people might abuse this, right? So I think 100 makes sense for me. Yeah, I think 100 requests makes more sense for me per hour, right? And then what else I want to implement is create spaces, right? So yes, it's nice having all your documents here, right? Especially when it's you only who can view them, because now anyone who logs in can find this document. And then it's nice that you only can view that document, but it's more nicer to have like sorry, to have like spaces, right? So that where I can group similar PDFs that are related to that topic, right? Uh, yeah. So, and then also I want to add the history aware ChatGPT feature, right? So if I upload a document, yeah, right now, and then let me upload that document. I need to fix this thing, is bothering me. Um, uh, this thing takes a lot of time now. Didn't take a lot of time this last time, but okay. And then I've just noticed that I get two pop-ups for upload successful. I'll also look at that. Um, this is the first version, so you shouldn't expect anything crazy from it. So if I say uh what is a business analyst, right? It gives me what a business analyst is. Give me uh, sticks, right? Characteristics of a business analyst. Don't know how to write characteristics since from primary. So yeah, and then I think it understands what I'm talking about because in that document, the only word, word, the only place they use characteristics is when they are defining the characteristics of a BA, right? So let's see. So give me 10 characteristics, right? Let's say what can be a follow-up question of 10 characteristics? Let's say make them 5. There we go. Doesn't understand now what am I talking about when I say make them 5, right? So I want to also add that, right? So it can be a history away, at least like previous 10 messages, right? I think 10 messages will be too much in terms of its recording, what responding with a paragraph, because I can say write an essay about a business analyst, right? So write an essay about a business analyst. So an essay is a long text, right? So I think I will lose some of the context because there's a limited number of tokens on ChatGPT. Anyway, I'm using ChatGPT 3 table. I think 3 table or 3. Yeah, I'm not sure. But I tried to use ChatGPT 4. It was not answering nicely for me, right? So even if I said an essay, it will write something short like this, right? But I said an essay, so I opted for ChatGPT 3. And then, yeah, it was nice working with NextJS, doing all these classy features with Tailwind. And then, yeah, it's also mobile friendly, right? So that's how you say it, right? So I'm changing my device. Why are you changing? Why are you not changing? Yeah, but it looks like this on a device. Yeah, looks like this on a cell phone, right? So yeah, but this thing goes that side a lot, right? So if you want to reach me or talk to me, learn more about me, you can actually come to my website at online and then just leave me a message there. There's my email. Yeah. I'm not saying spam me, I'm just saying talk to me, right? Yeah, thanks.